Hello, hello, hello. Welcome back. Welcome back to Dynamic English. Um, really glad that you all could join us today. Could join me. Today we are going to have not a grammar class or a typical class. Today we're going to cover some of the common mistakes that we hear as teachers. We hear them a lot. So if you're someone learning English, maybe it's probable that you make some of these mistakes as well. So we want to maybe just show you the wrong example and the right example. So I'm just going to wait just maybe 30 seconds or so. If you want, I highly advise that you maybe grab a pen and paper, because maybe some of you are guilty of making these mistakes. So I've got my notes here in front of me. If you guys, hello, Carluna, I see, hello. Hi, thank you for joining us. So as I said, today obviously we're not in I'm not in a mandatory lockdown or quarantine, but I'm still working from home, staying home. We hope all of you are as well, that you're staying safe, that you are not getting out and about so much unless it's necessary. So if you watch this in the future, this was filmed during coronavirus pandemic. That's why we're here. Today we're going to talk about some common mistakes, guys. The mistakes that we hear most often, okay? And I want everybody to understand, I have to say, first of all, when we're learning a new language, it's expected. It's very common that you're going to make mistakes, okay? Any teacher, okay, if you didn't make mistakes, I wouldn't have a job. So I know personally from when I learned Spanish, I made a lot of mistakes, probably 10,000 mistakes. But it's one of those things that you're going to fall and you just have to get back up and say, okay, yeah, take note and try again. It's repeat. It's a process. It's like learning a sport or practicing something. It doesn't happen in one day. So I want everybody to just remember that when I talk about these common mistakes, these are really easy to note and just say, okay, yeah. So I hope everybody has grabbed a pen and paper. Maybe if you hear a mistake that you make, then you can note and say, okay, not going to say that anymore. So without further ado, let's get started. So probably, let's see, I don't even know where I want to start. There's so many. No, but I'll start here. Probably one of the most common that I hear. A lot of my students are very physical people, so they say to me that they practice exercise. No, we do exercise. There's a video we have on this same channel, YouTube, about make and do. So anything we do for ourselves, exercise included, is always going to be used with the verb do. So we can't practice exercise. We can do exercise. We can practice a sport, right? And we can play a sport, but we can't practice exercise. The next common mistake that I hear is when Spanish speakers don't pronounce the final S on a plural verb, or a plural noun, sorry. It's really important because, for example, I don't know, 1 apple, 2 apples. I don't have an apple here. No, here, we'll use my plant. So, 1 plant, okay, 2 plants. For example, so make sure that whenever you see a final S at the end of a word, that you pronounce it. It's really, really common for people to just skip over that final S, but it determines the difference between singular and plural. So make sure we're pronouncing that final S. Let's see, the next mistake I hear is it depend of. It depend of. In English, we're going to say it depends on. Okay, we're going to use the preposition on. So I understand why this happens, because in Spanish, sometimes you might say, depende de, yeah? It doesn't literally translate. So in this case, it depends, again with S, it depends on. So will you, I don't know, leave your house this weekend? It depends on the weather. If it rains, maybe not. So, all right. So we're good so far? Everybody's good? I see other people. Hi, Jesse. Hi. Hi, Maite. Excellent. So I'm going to continue. The next common mistake I hear, and this is really, really common, is something like the dog black or the car red. So remember in English that it's al revés, it's reversed. We put our describer before the subject. So it would be the black dog or the red car. No el perro negro o el auto rojo. So again, we need to make sure that we're putting those al revés, putting those in the correct order. So our describer comes before our subject. I hear this one all the time. The next one is I am agree. So I hope that you all watching this class agree with what I'm saying, and you don't put bad comments there. But I hear this all the time. In this case, I understand again, this is a literal translation. So if you're trying to translate estoy de acuerdo, yeah, in English, it's just I agree. We don't need to include am. We don't need to include the verb to be. Okay, so I want everybody to be aware of that. Most of you are probably guilty. Hear that one? Oof, a lot. I am agree. Oh, no, I am agree. I am agree. I am agree. No. So keep in mind that the verb to be describes our physical condition. So I am tall. I am now in quarantine, fat. I am a gringo. So that's going to describe us. To be, ser o estar. But with estoy de acuerdo, no. Okay, so I've got another big list here. So let's continue. And guys, I want to point out we are on about a 30-second delay here on YouTube, but I can see your comments. So if you have any questions, feel free to kind of raise your hand and interrupt the class. These classes are, hopefully we can interact with as many people as possible. So if you have any questions and you want to say, is this correct? Can I say this? Let me know. I'm going to open it up and answer your questions towards the end of the class. So we'll definitely get you taken care of. So the next one I want to talk about, and I hope that you are not bored in this class. Okay, so I hear this a lot too, the difference between boring and bored. Okay, and maybe I can write this. I want to make sure that the difference of these is understood. One second, let me grab a marker. Bored, okay, is going to refer to how you feel. Okay, so if you are bored, and this is really big on TikTok right now, bored in the house and I'm in the house bored, and boring. So I want to point out the difference in these two words. Hopefully you can see these. on my little board here, on my board, but that's board. Okay, so what do we call those? Homophones. Board, board. So this is my board, but we'll take this one away. So the difference between bored and boring is that you feel bored. This is what a person feels. Boring would be the situation, the event, the class. Hopefully this class is not boring, and that you are learning something. But I want to point out, I hear sometimes she was boring in the class. So if we're talking about the student, I would need to say she was bored, right? She was aburrida, right? So I hope none of you are in that situation right now. But I do understand, right now, if you're staying at home, if you're working from home, if you are in quarantine, you're probably bored, yeah? It gets difficult to think of ideas and things to do, so hang in there, guys. We're gonna get through this. So, yeah, something that's here in Chile, we might say fome. That would be boring. It's boring. It's ugh. So, pay attention to the difference there. Bored and boring. Jesse, cuando te acercas mucho al computador, el sonido empeora. Oh, okay. Sorry, good to know. Thank you, Maite. Okay, yeah, Francisco Paraga, I see. I'm bored, exactly, and this class isn't boring. Excellent. Thank you, Francisco. So, but I hear that a lot, guys. I hear it a lot. So make sure that if we're referring to how we feel, aburrido, yeah, a situation, boring. So I'm going to go through a few of these next ones kind of quick, but I sometimes hear that she or he is married with someone. Again, this is a literal translation because está casado con un médico, está casado con, no sé, un ingeniero. That doesn't literally translate to English, okay? In English, we're going to say someone is married to. So she is married to a doctor, he is married to an engineer, yeah? So make sure we're not using with. Again, not a literal translation. And a lot of these mistakes, guys, are prepositions. Yeah, if you notice in kind of what I'm talking about, they're the use of a verb or preposition. So I recommend that you guys study some verbs and some prepositions, and study with us. We have so many teachers, and we offer online classes, group classes. What are you waiting for? So on the note of verbs, I want to now talk about the difference between make and do. I know I mentioned earlier do exercise, okay? So that's something that we do to ourselves, okay? So we always do exercise. We can't make exercise. Similarly, if you're learning English, we cannot make homework, okay? I, as the teacher, will make homework and send to my student because I make exercises for my students. You, as the student, will do your homework because it's a task. So if you can, try to remember that any tarea, any task is due. Let's see. The next one let's talk about is, and we covered this in a previous YouTube video, is the use of near to. I often hear for example, if I ask a student, where do you live? They will say, I live near to the stadium. Okay, it's just near. So when we use the word near, we don't need to also use the preposition to. It's just near, or we can say close to, which is going to translate to, in Spanish, as cerca. So, cerca al. Cerca al estadio. Okay. ooh, and this is a big one. I have a student right now, two students actually, who this is a big problem for them. And I want to spend a little bit of time on this. The difference between not and don't. So and I hear this a lot, somebody might say, I not like, or she not like the movie. We can't say that. So I want to point out that we will not put a pronoun in front of the word not. Okay? We are going to use the verb to be. You aren't. She isn't. You are. She is. Positive, affirmative. But most of the time, we're going to use the verb to do, but not as the verb to do, hacer. We're going to use that as the auxiliary verb. So remember that to make a negative, we're going to say, I don't, she doesn't. So remember that a pronoun, a pronombre, I not, you not, we not, she not, he not, that doesn't exist. So just kind of keep in your mind, pronombre, either and the word not, no, never. So I hope that's clear. Nearby. You can say nearby, yeah. But typically, nearby, good question, Francisco. Nearby just means it's cerca. You wouldn't say I guess you could say it. I live near, you would just say near. Or you would say the stadium is nearby, right? Yeah, you can say that. Let's see. Moving on. Ooh, the next 3, 4, 5 are probably the most common that I hear all the time. Every day I hear at least one of these. So if you make these mistakes, listen, take note. And I just said take note. So I hear this all the time. Take a coffee. Take breakfast. Take lunch. Remember that in English, the verb take is tomar. But we don't tomar drinks, coffee, food. We have them, or we drink or eat them. So I hear students say, no, I went to take a coffee with a client, and no. He can say, I went to have a coffee, or I went to drink a coffee. Okay? So remember in English that the verb take, yeah, es tomar, but we mean that physically, and we mean that action, tomar. Or, yeah, I see. So I just want you to remember, sorry, I just want everybody to remember, we can have a drink, or we can drink. So have a coffee, or drink a coffee. We can have lunch, or we can eat lunch. Similar, have breakfast, eat breakfast. Have dinner, eat dinner. Yeah, have a snack, eat a snack. But we're never going to take. Because in some context, take can mean robar, or to steal. So we don't use it that way. The next one. He has 40 years old. He has 40 years old. Or I hear all the time, I have 29 years. No. So in this context, we don't use the verb have. So again, not a literal translation. I know in Spanish it's tengo 36. That's the truth. I am 36, if you can believe that. But we don't use the verb have. We're going to use the verb to be, again, because we're talking about our physical self, our condition. I am. Okay? I am 36 years old. Let's see, I have a comment. So I can't say, can I drink a chair? What? Can I drink a chair? Nobody can drink a chair. I don't know what that comment is, but okay. I have a student that says this all the time. and this is something about quantifiers that hopefully you've probably made this mistake before. My student says to me all the time, oh, I have many work. So, in this case, we're not going to use many. We're going to use a lot. So we never have many work. We can have many projects, right? But we're never going to have many work. We're going to have a lot of work. Mucho. We're going to have mucho trabajo. Mucho trabajo. So make sure that we're using a lot. Yeah, a lot of, really. Next common mistake I hear is maybe in 2 weeks more. In 2 weeks more. No. In 2 weeks more, I will travel for business. Okay. In 2 more weeks. So again, guys, this is not a literal translation. We can't translate en 2 semanas más. In English, that more is always going to come before our time. Yeah? 2 more weeks, 2 more days, 1 more month, 3 more hours. Doesn't matter, but note that that more is always going to come before the time. Yeah. We posted this the other day, or last week, on our Instagram. If you're not on our Instagram, then make sure you are. I hear this all the time. Espérame. Wait me. Wait me. Again, guys, literal translation. We can't do this. It's wait for me. Or will you wait for me? Wait for me can be kind of a command, depending on the tone. But I want you to pay attention to that. Wait for me. In English, we're going to include the preposition for. It's like espera para mí. Yeah. So not so difficult to understand, but yeah. Still, I hear it all the time. No, wait me, please. Wait me. My students send a message and say, "Oh, I am 5 minutes until class. Wait me, please." So, make sure you're not saying that, okay? The next one I'm going to get to deals with comparatives and superlatives, but I hear this quite a bit. Somebody might say, "Oh no, today is more hot than yesterday." Okay, so when we're thinking about saying something more and then an adjective, like hot, we're not going to say more hot. We're going to say hotter, okay? If this is a mistake you make, I definitely recommend that you go to this same YouTube channel and check out, I think it's probably our 2nd or 3rd video we did, or that I did, about comparative and superlative adjectives, because this is a really common mistake. And it's one of those little things that makes you sound, I don't know, like a foreigner. So if you're trying to improve that fluency, if you're trying to sound more native and understand, then I definitely recommend watch that video on comparative and superlative adjectives, because this is a really common mistake. So I would not say it is more bright today, it is brighter today than yesterday. I think it is hotter today here in Santiago. It is hotter today than it was yesterday. So make sure that we're including that ER or EST with those superlatives. Next one, and again, the next one is featured in a YouTube video that we did a while back. How many childrens do you have? Okay, so remember that we have some words in English that, yeah, they're already plural, so it's not necessary, okay, to add the S. I know I said at the beginning of the class that you have to add an S. You have to pronounce that S on the end of those words, and you do. You really do. But, for example, women, yeah, it's plural. Woman, singular. Women, plural. Man, one. Men, more than one. So not necessary to add the s. And the most common example I have is children. No, my children's. No, just children. Already plural. All right. Another one I hear often. Explain me. Maybe a student will ask and they will say, can you explain me? No. In this case, I need to include to. Explicar a mí, right? So we needed to kind of change our mindset and how we think about that, because explícame, that literal translation, again, no. So make sure that we're saying, can you explain to me, okay? And we use to because someone is a recipient of something. So it's for you, maybe a gift, yeah? So maybe, I don't know if you've ever seen, we have from and to. So maybe if you receive a gift, it will say from me to you, because you are the recipient. So if someone explains something, again, you're the recipient of that information, okay? So we need to say, can you explain to me? Or explain to me. Explain to me why there are people who go in public with no mask. Right? Explain to me. What? Yeah. Yeah. Always have your mask, guys. Okay. I've just got about maybe, let's see, about maybe 5 more, and then I'm going to open it up to some questions. I see some questions. I'd like you to make a video explaining these. I'm sorry, explaining the STA? Well, verbs followed by gerunds and infinitives. It's hard to understand. It's coming. Maybe next week or the week after, I'm definitely going to do a video comparing the infinitive form versus the gerund form, because I know. And that's where the to comes in. In the infinitive, you're going to use it. With the gerund, no. But what is the gerund? So make sure to stay tuned either here or on Instagram. And I'm going to talk about that, because I know. Let's see. But my next example here on common mistakes that I want to cover is when we put two negatives together. I hear this a lot, where maybe I said, oh, how was the party? I don't know. And somebody says, I didn't meet nobody. So didn't is negative, nobody's negative, and typically in English we're not going to put those together. So I also hear in the past, my student said yesterday, no, I not went. So he was talking about a past situation, but if you say not went, no, we're not going to say that. So you're going to say I didn't, which is our negative. It's going to be no. So again, that auxiliary verb do. So I didn't go. And if anytime we use that negative, didn't, the following verb is going to stay the infinitive without to. So I didn't go. I didn't eat. I didn't see. I didn't watch. I didn't hear. Yeah, any of those. So make sure that we're not using I not go, I not went, I not see. Again, it's didn't. So it's the negative. It's the negatives that confuse people. Okay. Let me continue. We have in English what's called a conditional, and it's used in the conditional. It's the same in Spanish, condicionales. But I hear this sometimes, maybe if I go to a friend's house, they might say, because most of my friends try and practice English with me, but they might say, do you like a glass of wine? And I respond, no, I want 2 bottles, but no. Really, if we're offering something to someone, we should always remember that we're going to use the conditional verb would. Would you like, right? Yeah. Or do you want? Yeah. Quieres. If you're with your friends, That's the more common way. Do you want some wine? Do you want a beer? Do you want some lasagna? I'm making lasagna later today, so yeah. But a formal way, a polite way to offer something to someone is always, would you like? Yeah. So not do you. Because if we're asking, do you like, it's to say like in general, if it's una gusta de ti, yeah, something that you're interested in. Do you like football? Do you like, I don't know, ice cream? Do you like spaghetti? That's how we're going to use do. But if you're offering something, would. Let's see. Oh, another common one that I hear is maybe somebody says, I worked in this company since 3 years ago. We can't use since in that way. So I want you to make sure that we understand that since is desde, but it means a starting point. And we understand that it's up until now. So in English, we're going to say, I have worked in this company for 3 years. So we're going to use for because it's a duration of time. Okay? Durations of time in English, for 3 years, for 3 months. I have worked with dynamic English for 3 years. Yeah. We have been a business and an institute for 8 years, I think. So notice there, it's a duration of time. So I'm going to use for. Okay. I hear sometimes, somebody told me this last week, my boyfriend has got a new work. Yeah. So in English, we're going to say, my boyfriend has a new job. Okay. We're not going to refer to work. Work refers to the physical, the aspect of it. The job is an empleo. So he's always got a new job. He lost his job. So make sure we're using that. I often hear just work. Work. Yes, since it's for a specific time in the past. Correct. So I see, yeah, since 3 months. So if you're mentioning a specific time, you can say since. So let me say, I have worked with dynamic English since 2017. That's when I started. I don't even know. But since 2017, okay? So that's a specific time. I'm going to use since. But if I'm talking about the whole duration of time, I've worked with dynamic English for 3 years. So make sure we're aware of that. Responding to that question. Another one I hear, and this isn't such a big deal, but I hear just in United States, okay, make sure that when we're talking about my home country, right now my home country is Chile. I love Chile. Chileno de corazón. But I'm from the United States. It's the United States. Notice I said I'm from the United States, or the United States. But it's really important that we put that the or the. It's like los Estados Unidos. Yeah, but here I hear often, no, in United States, because you don't pronounce that los, but it's really important. It's the United States of America. Okay, I just have a few more. When we're asking a question, maybe like where, so I hear this, where I can find, or where I can see. A student asked me last week, where I can see this movie that you are talking about. It's in Netflix? No. When we're asking a question about the ability or the possibility to do something, it's where can I? What can I? What can I do to help you learn English? Where can I see this movie that you're speaking about? So where I can, we do use. So I will help where I can. Okay? That's an affirmation, not a question. So if we're asking a question, make sure that it's where can I find? Where can I see? Where can I go where can I watch, where can I don't know, anything. Where can I, and then a verb, right? So you see the structure there. So be aware of that, because I hear that a lot. Where I can find more information about phrasal verbs. I say, no, where can I? So pay attention, guys. Hopefully you're all taking notes, kind of like I have here. You have the wrong side and say, oh yeah, I'm guilty of that. And then you've made the correction. So let's see, I've just got a few more. I'm going reverse up the list. The use of very much, I hear that as well. So maybe sometimes somebody says, I like very much ice cream. So we're going to put our subject before how we feel about it. Yeah. So I like ice cream very much. Yeah. Not a big comment. Again, with all of these mistakes, as this is called, errores más comunes, we understand these. We're going to help you. We're going to correct you. Nobody is going to say, you said, where I can find, because we're going to understand you, and we're going to be able to respond. But again, if you're wanting to sound more native, these are little corrections that you can make, not complicated, to just sound a little more like you know what you're doing. Fake it till you make it. That's what we always say. Just a couple others. I think I only have two left. Look forward to meet you. And I understand this because, if we use to, usually the verb is in infinitive. However, with this phrase, this expression, I'm looking forward, or I look forward to meeting you. Conociéndote, to meeting you. So I know that doesn't necessarily follow rules whenever we're using to, because normally we keep the infinitive. Not in this case. So make sure that if you are telling somebody, a client, business partner, I'm looking forward to meeting. Maybe a Tinder date. I don't know. And then the other that I want to point out, the last one actually, is every. So if we're using every, actually no, I have one more. Sorry, I lied. If we're using every, I sometimes hear somebody say like, no, every person's, every student's. If we use the word every, then we don't need to make the following subject plural. There's no need for the S. Every student, every person, everyone, everybody. We have an Instagram post about this from a while back, but if that confuses you, the use of every, I definitely recommend that you check out that post on Instagram. Okay, and now, final for the last. The last big common mistake, guys, and again, we have a video about this on this same YouTube channel, is the way that you skip over the pronunciation of the final ed sound on regular verbs. So any word that ends with ed, we need to make sure that we're pronouncing those words. So irregular verbs, most of them, the past tense changes. So when you say that past tense verb, we know, it's past. But if you don't pronounce that ed pronunciation on the end of a past tense regular verb, it sounds like you're talking in the present. And so your stories or your cuentas, what you're talking about, it can become confusing. You're like, wait, did this happen or it's happening now? So I highly encourage everybody, if you haven't already seen it, watch that video on ed pronunciation, because it is really important, guys, really important to make sure we're pronouncing that. So with that, that's the list I have. We're at about 40 minutes, which is about where I wanted to be. So I'm going to take maybe the next 10 minutes. If anybody has questions, I am definitely available here. Let's see, can I say I love ice cream a lot? Yes, you can. I love ice cream a lot. I love ice cream very much. Any of those are good. So let's see. I'll just wait a little bit. So again, thank you guys for joining us today. But really, if you have any questions, let me know. I see we've got about 40 people in the class right now. And please keep in mind that if you need to go back and maybe see the beginning or hear some of the other common mistakes, that this video will be here on this YouTube channel. So, sorry, my voice is a little dry. I don't have any water here. I don't see any questions coming in. So if you don't have any questions, maybe people let me know if you are guilty of maybe making some of these mistakes. Yeah. And again, I want to stress to everybody that I don't want this class or this video to be like, oh, you're wrong. It's normal. It's completely normal. We expect it. These are some of the most common ones that we hear, but I mean, there's a lot more. And I'm going to tell you again, I made 10,000 mistakes when I was learning Spanish. So it's part of the process. I still make mistakes. You know, I say something wrong, I'm like, oh no, it's this word. So be aware of those false friends as well in English. Again, we have a video about that, or Bernadette and Cesar have a video about that. Like embarrassed and embarazada. No, two completely different things. Assist and attend. Remember, those are al revés. Those are reversed in English. So, ooh, good question. Good question. Let's see. Meme Bauzas has the question, can we say we are four, or the correct way is to say there are four of us? The second. There are four of us. Because when we use the word there are, we're saying I, yeah? Hay cuatro de nosotros. There are four of us. If we say we are four, that's going to be like if you asked two children, how old are you? And they both say, we are four. Okay? So again, it's that verb to be, and I know that it's used differently in English. I get that. But if you can kind of plant in your head that it's not used the same as Spanish. So really, great question. Great question. Can we say we are four? No. But I hear that. No, we are four. Somos cuatro personas. So again, not a literal translation. But good question. Yeah. So I'm going to keep this open for maybe, 7-10 minutes more. I don't want to talk on and on and on about mistakes. So let me know, guys. Let me know if you have questions. But like I said, I don't want anybody to feel bad. It's part of the process. Everybody's going to make mistakes. And a good teacher is going to encourage you to not make mistakes. They're never going to point and laugh and say, ha, ha, ha. If they do, then you need to get a new teacher. But that's why I highly recommend the classes with us here at Dynamic, because they're going to be personalized just for you. So if you are making these mistakes, then your teacher is going to correct you and say, no, don't say that, say this. And after 3 or 4 times, you're going to say, okay, yeah. So that's kind of the idea here. Could you repeat the example of work? Yes. So with work, I think, Maite, you're talking about when I talked about my boyfriend. It said my boyfriend has got a new work. We would say he has a new job. So work, I think, is like your trabajo, like the things that you actually do. In English, we refer to that as your work. But your empleo, that's your job, right? So that's kind of the difference. So I wouldn't say my boyfriend has got a new work. He has a new job. Or he's got a new job. So, good question though. I hope that explains. I hope that's what you're talking about. Or you just want me to say work, 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 work. Yeah. So we wouldn't say job, 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 job. No. I'm guilty. Okay. Yeah. Rodrigo. Good thing. Yeah. Geeses. Again, that's one of those words. One goose, two geese. Geese is already plural. So we have several words like that. But then we also have other words that are plural that don't end with an S, like sheep, one sheep, two sheep, three sheep, a flock of sheep. You never know. Isn't English fun, guys? This is the thing. So a lot of things, there's just no rules. Just go with it, learn it. You're good. How can I answer negative questions like Adele's song, Don't You Remember? So what you're, Francisco Paraga, what you're asking is about a negative interrogative. So if a question starts with don't or haven't, it's almost to ask your opinion of something. So in that context, don't you remember? It's like no lo recuerdas. So it's similar to Spanish. If you're starting the sentence with a negative, then it's what we call negative interrogative. But how can I answer negative questions like Adele's song, Don't You Remember? You would just answer yes or no. I mean, don't you remember? Like, no, I don't remember. I don't remember. What are you talking about? Yeah? And he's like, yes, I remember. But you would answer them the same way you answer any other question, yes or no. But again, that's called, should I say, no, I don't, or yes, I do. Yeah, exactly. But if the question is asked with the auxiliary verb do, 99% of the time you're going to respond using that same auxiliary verb. Yes, I do. No, I don't. So, yeah, good question. Thank you. Good. I answered your question. Okay. So, I don't know. I've got maybe a couple more minutes. Like I said, I don't want to take everybody's all the time, but if you missed the beginning of the video, make sure to check that out, because as you can see here, I've got a big list, and this was to keep this within time. So if anybody here in these last few moments wants me to repeat any examples, any questions, make sure that you are no longer making these mistakes. I hope that you can, or that you were able to take notes. And that you can maybe stop making these. But on that note, I don't see any more questions coming in. So I'm just going to take a quick minute to remind everybody that we are still not out of the woods, okay? And when I say out of the woods, I mean we're not in the clear. We're not to a point where we should be for people to go out. So if you do have to go out, please make sure that you are wearing your mask, right? Make sure that you are removing it from the back of your ears and that you're not touching your face. It's really, really important, guys. We are going to get through this, but you gotta do your part. So if you're working from home and you're staying at home, hopefully you're not bored, okay? Remember the beginning of the class? Bored, boring. What's the difference? Bored and boring. So I hope everybody is staying at home, that you're not bored. I hope that this class was not boring. I hope that you learned something. Thank you for the interaction. Thank you for your questions. But really, guys, stay home, stay safe. We here at Dynamic English are here. If you're interested, if you have extra time, we definitely offer those online classes. So make sure to contact us on our website, Instagram. You can comment on this video, message us on YouTube. You can email us. You can call us. We have so many ways to get in touch with us. We have a podcast, Coffee with Gringos. So if you're not listening to that, Make sure to check that out on Spotify, on iTunes, everywhere you can get a podcast. So I'm going to end this. We've gone about 50 minutes here in this class. So guys, I hope, again, I was able to show you some examples of things to avoid saying. Again, all really small little corrections, but if you can get in the habit of making sure to not make these mistakes, you're going to sound more native immediately. So I hope everybody has a good weekend, that you're staying home and you're staying safe. And I see one last question here, Leonel Flowers. Which is the difference between safe and save? Safe with F, save. So notice there's a vibration with that V. Safe is seguro. Yeah, like you're safe. Save is ahorrar, to save something, or guardar. So safe. So I hope that you all can save this video in your notes, or that you took notes. Save your notes. And I hope that you are all staying home and staying safe. So from all of us here at Dynamic English, have a really great weekend. Stay home, stay safe. Contact us if you're interested in classes. We'd be happy to be your teacher. And until the next time, we will see you later. Thanks for joining us, guys. Bye-bye.